Hello,
and welcome
to Study and Stay in Turku 2023.
Get ready to dive with us today, guys, into an exciting world here in Study and Stay in Turku 2023. We're here to bring a thrilling adventure filled with expert success stories and boundless opportunities.
Let's uncover the inspiring journeys of international talents who've shaped their vibrant careers here in Turku. So, Asma, how did you end up in Turku?
Okay, it's kind of long story short, actually, when my fiance and I got to Finland, we lived in Jyväskylä, and then I had to go to come to Turku to sign my admission papers. And we fell in love with a little cafe by the river. A month later, we ended up in here.
Wow, that's so nice.
So what about you, Helia? What are you doing here?
Good question. What am I doing here? I came to do my master's in human neuroscience at the University of Turku 2 years ago, and I graduated in April, and now I'm doing a PhD.
Okay, good for you.
Thank you.
Good for you. So do you want to tell us about the QR code and our app today, Helia?
Yes, so excitingly, we have an event app today where everyone can participate in the chats. Here's the QR code. Please just scan it, and you can go straight into engaging with the audience who are also online. Welcome. Here, if you have any questions for our speakers, please go ahead and put them in the chat. You can also join the polls and just be engaged with everyone while you're listening to the amazing speakers.
Good, good. So enough with us. Now let's kick off our program and get ready to be inspired, guys. Our keynote speaker, Priyanka Banerjee, as a partner at DEidei, Priyanka is on a mission to shake up Finnish industry by supporting diversity, equity, and inclusion. She moved her journey from tech realm to become DEI advocate. It's not just basically a story, it's been a roller coaster ride. So let's dive into Priyanka's world as she shares with us her inspiring journey and a game-changing impact that she's making today. Please join me in giving a massive welcome to our keynote speaker, Priyanka Banerjee.
Hello, everyone. How are you doing? It's so quiet Tuesday evening, 4:30 p.m. Hello, everyone online. Can we get some energy in the room, people? Are we ready? Can't hear you. Make some noise, and people online, show some love on the chat. Say where you're joining from, and let's make one more huge energy burst. Are you ready, Turku? Yay! Welcome, everyone, and thank you so much for having me here. It's such an absolute pleasure. Welcome, everyone online, joining on the live stream. Really happy that you can see me. I can't see you, unfortunately, but I will be able to read your comments on the chat. Today, I'm here to share a brief story of, I wanted to name it, Many New Beginnings. I was wondering, what should I name the title of this journey that I have had in Finland, and I realized that it has been a journey of really learning, growing, and going through many new things. And that is what I realized, that a lot of us coming from different places to Finland go through, having new beginnings all the time. And what is really great about new beginnings, that it is exciting, it is energetic, and it's fun, but at the same time, it could be challenging, it could be scary, it could be, we might be scared to take on these new beginnings. But one thing, for 100% sure, what all the new beginnings teach us, they teach us something important, what we want or don't want in our lives. And that is why today it's about the new beginnings. And Hilja and Asma gave a really nice introduction, so I don't have to introduce myself that much, but very quickly about I am a diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant. How many of you know what those terms mean? Some of us? Yeah? Okay, we'll talk about that a little bit if we get the time. My current title is I'm a partner at DEIDei, and I'm the co-founder and the ex-CEO of BusinessWiz, which is also a company that started working with diversity, equity, and inclusion. But I heard your stories of Asma and Hilja coming to Finland. Why are they here? So why did I come to Finland? And my background is actually in engineering. I'm an electronics and communication engineer. So people, if this art piece does not look like me, I'm sorry about that. It was an attempt. But in 2016, I, by an accident, ended up in Finland. I call it a Finnish accident because it was a really nice spring day. I'm originally from India. I have been working in the technology industry in there. I was working at the time in Delhi. How many of you know Delhi? Make some noise. Woo! Delhi people out there. And my manager, she called me, Priyanka, we have a really urgent requirement. Can you come to my office and we need to talk? And I'm like, yeah, sure, all right, why not? And I went there and she was like, you know, the project, the client we are working with, we have some new requirements and we want someone to go there and take care of it. And I was like, all right, yeah, it's okay, I can go to Finland. I was like, tomorrow 10 a.m. is your flight. I'm like, all right. So less than 24 hours and I was in Finland. That's why I call it a Finnish accident, because I did not get the chance to research about it. The first time when someone asked me, why did you come to Finland? And I was like, I thought it was like a little bit colder. A little bit. I came in April, so. But I am still here 7 years and maybe a few months. Next year in April, it will be 8 years of me by accident coming to Finland and then staying and creating a life here. But when I came, it was in the tech industry. How many of you belong to any of the engineering departments, technology, IT companies? Yeah, some of us? It's very easy for someone like me to stand out. This is what means diversity. And this is what I was facing when I joined my team. I was the only woman, the only non-Finnish person, the only 20-something person. And it was really different from what I had experienced before. And I was really, really excited that, okay, I get to experience and I'll learn and I will be in this new country and a new job. Just a week before I came to Finland, my brother in India joined a new company and he was telling me, you know, how they welcomed me, they had like a banner with my face and name on it. And like we had a surprise party. And I was like, okay, tomorrow is my first day. I'm like looking forward to what's gonna happen. And I go there and I'm like, there was nobody. I had emails full of instructions, but I wouldn't know where to go, who to talk to. And it felt really, really, really lonely at first, because I did not come here with family. I came here less than 24 hours notice, so I didn't know anybody. I didn't get time to meet anyone or network with people. And it continued for about a week when nobody came to talk to me in my own team, and I was seeing that, okay, they are sending me emails, and this is the same person who's sending me emails. And me being me, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just go and talk to them, like, why don't they wanna talk to me? And I go and almost in my full Priyanka energy. Hey, hi, Priyanka, you know me because you have been sending me emails, but you don't come and talk to me. Why is that so? And I know that that person is like such the nicest person. Now that I know him, he was like scared and shakingly telling to me that, but we thought that you want some time to settle in. It is such an overwhelming journey for you, and we wanted to give you space. And that day, a lot of things clicked to me, that how we are so same as humans, but how we are also so different and unique. And in those experiences, working in that industry was the first time when I started to think about this terminology of inclusion. Because it was one of the first times that the company that I came to work for started to hire international talents. And in many technology industry, people are like, oh, we are really diverse. But we don't really understand that having diversity does not equal to having inclusion. And what does that mean? It means that even when I was there, my opinions were not valued. I was not being included in many of the meetings. I was excluded because I didn't speak the language. People did not understand about my culture, where I come from. People wouldn't appreciate the differences, the uniqueness that you bring. And it kind of made me feel that, do I want to work somewhere where I'm not appreciated, I'm not valued, and where I cannot give the best that I have? Because I know one thing I know, maybe I don't know about the culture of this place, but one thing I know is the work that I'm doing. I'm great at it, but I cannot be great at it because I'm not getting the environment to be great at it. So I started thinking about what should I do. And it was a scary situation for me in the terms that I am a person that I like to say that if I don't stand up for myself, nobody else will. But that also means that it takes you to certain situations and decisions where you have to make the tough choices. And for me, I told myself I deserve better. And honestly, we all deserve better. I really want to share that and want you to also recognize that even when we come in a new country and we might think that we are so different, we don't know this, we don't know the language, and we might not be worth it, I realize that we have something so unique to give to this place, and we deserve more than what we have. And of course, where we are, due to the current structures, it's not that easy. And I will not paint a rosy picture that it will be a path full of roses. But yeah, it was a decision that I made, and I decided to quit my, there is something happening with my deck, which I don't want to move, but all right. But hey, you already took me to the next slide. I decided to quit my job because I really was not satisfied. I didn't think that I would want to put myself in a box and where I don't feel that I am valued and I can't give my best. So I see a lot of people here from India. Raise your hand if you're from Asia, India. Yeah, how many of you recognize that after we do engineering, the next right step is to do masters in do your MBA? Yeah. That was all. I was also thinking that I don't know what to do. This is a new country. What I will do is I will go to your university and I will study and I will see what I want to do. So I started doing my master's. I did my MBA in Lappeenranta University of Applied Sciences. It was called Saima University of Applied Sciences. And I took the course where I had to go there for weekends because I was still living in Helsinki. And what I did in those 2 years, I think that was one of my best decisions to join the university, not because I learned a lot from the university. I'm not saying that people who are in the university don't learn from there, but I personally did not. Those 2 years I spent experimenting on what I want to do. Because when I quit my company, I was like, quit my job, I was like, what am I gonna do? Like, I'm in a new country, I don't know anybody, I don't speak the language, I don't get social security, I don't know the culture, I really don't know anything about anything. So what am I supposed to do? And that's where I got introduced to the startup world. And those 2 years went completely into, I started working with different startups, I started learning from them, having more, creating new ideas of new startups. And all the time I started thinking about, why did I quit my job? It was because I wasn't feeling included, I didn't feel that I belonged here. And these topics kept coming over and over again, and I was like, we really need the leaders and the people to learn or know about how do we create cultures, workplace cultures, where we can be inclusive. And so it happened the same in the startup world. I was again questioning about, do we really have inclusion here? Do we see that people from different backgrounds have the same opportunities? And I came to the conclusion, no, we still have a lot more work to do. And I started talking about DEI. This is when I started talking about DEI, knocking on different events like, hey, do you have 5 minutes of time? I really have a good topic and I would like to share it with you. Some said yes, some said no, but in the end, I learned a lot from this 2 years of my life, gave me a lot of network, it gave me a lot of inspiration and the courage to actually say that we do have a problem and we need to work on it. And that is when in 2019 I started my company, BusinessWiz, and we started helping different companies and leaders into diversity, equity, inclusion. This is also the same time I was in the founding board of International Working Women of Finland. How many of you know IVOF? IVOF, yay, IVOF people. We started as 10 people in the group, and at the moment now we are over 9,000 international women from across Finland and working towards creating inclusion from different ways. And early this year, another new beginning happened to me when I joined. I merged my company with DEIDei. This is our new team. We are actually, one more person joined last week, so we are now 10 people. And DEIDei was founded by 3 really wonderful, amazing humans, Yasmin, Nassim, and Iina, who in their lives in Finland have had different kind of challenges and decided to work on the topic of DEI. And we have been collaborating together and realized that there is a really good synergy, and we started to work together. But I will skip this. You can see this on our website. We have now worked together over 200 clients, companies in Finland in less than 3 years of time. And what we have learned in this 5 or 6 years of journey that I have been on from moving to tech into the DEI world is that there are multiple challenges that the organizations have. We actually tried to sum it up in a DEI playbook that was launched earlier this year. And these were the 5 main challenges that we kind of came up, what we see in organizations who are trying to have more diversity and international people in the companies face. Like, how do we start? How do we get our first international in the company? How do we get the leadership to buy in? How do we recruit in a more inclusive way? How do we communicate in a more inclusive way? And you can read it. This is a free resource. You can download it from our website. You can also see some company examples that might be interesting for you that are actually doing things regarding DEI. Why I'm mentioning it is because it's important to also if we are looking for a job or looking to go into an organization, it is good if they already are doing something about inclusion, because if they are not, you might not be really have the inclusion or the belonging that we are looking for. And I hope that we all can work in better workplaces and company cultures. So you can check out some of these names. There are different, I think there are about 20 case examples. You can download it from our website. But finishing the talk, it was 15 minutes, too many things to add in here, and I can talk for an hour on this, but last thing that I would want all of us to take is, we hear a lot about the word integration. If there is one thing that we can take away from today, is how we can replace using integration to inclusion. Because integration is one-sided. It asks the minority group to become a part of the majority and adapt to it. Versus in inclusion, we come into the majority culture bringing in our unique values and differences and create a new culture around us. And this is not about organizations. We are working with organizations to create this impact, but it is also about all of us. So how can all of us learn about our own biases, about our own privileges? How can we create a more inclusive world? And how can we be better allies to each other? For example, for me with DEIDei, they were great allies that they saw a possibility to collaborate and have me a partner in the company. So there are really great allies. Identify them, be a good ally yourself. And just do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better. But thank you so much. If you have any questions later on, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, or you can send an email to me. And it has been a pleasure. And I think our host here has a few more questions for me. But once again, thank you everyone here and online. It was a pleasure talking to you.
All right, thank you so much, Priyanka, for such a wonderful talk. I know I'm curious to know about more, so I have a few questions for you.
Perfect.
Since your experience in DEIDei, which companies in what fields are more open to diversifying? Just so that our audience knows, maybe there is a field that tends to be more open.
So I have been working in the DEI industry for maybe 6 years now. When I started, because I have a tech background, through Business Ways, we have been working mostly with tech companies, also because tech companies, or let's say IT companies in precise, have more people coming from international backgrounds.
Okay.
I wouldn't say that I wouldn't say that diversity equals to inclusion, but there is more need in there. But there have been now a growing need in other sectors as well. And I think one good way to spot which companies are open is in their recruitment. Of course, the language of the recruitment, but also how inclusive their communications is in terms of recruitment can help you differentiate between the companies or industries that are more open.
Okay, that's a good point going on to my next question. Is there anything maybe in the handbook that the audience can use to implement and to identify which companies are maybe more inclusive, or even maybe in the recruitment process, are there any flags that you can see in companies that are open to being more inclusive?
Yes, so the playbook actually we created for the Finnish organizations so that they could learn from their peers and colleagues. Of course, there are examples from certain companies in there. But when you say about the red flags in the interview process, definitely see how diverse is their interview panel, for example. Like I said, how are there, for example, we use a lot of inclusive recruitment or communication techniques. There is a lot of companies, when they write the recruitment ads, they are not thinking if it's gender bias. Because, for example, using a lot of terminologies like guys and superstars or ninjas, subconsciously what they do is that it is decreasing the likelihood of other genders to apply for their position. And we actually also see that women, they apply for positions that they are over 90% sure of after reading the recruitment ads. So it's if they have made an attempt to make their ads more inclusive in terms of their gender, in terms of making it open that they are open and welcoming to people from different backgrounds, then it's a good company. Like I cannot say that it's a good, but it's a good start. And then also in the recruitment process, see how they are communicating, if their interview panel is diverse. So small tips.
Okay. And my next question is, as someone, I think everyone here in Finland, maybe it's hard to find a job, maybe it's easier, and there may be a time where you do have to make a career change. And as someone who has made a kind of field change, what's the most important question one should ask themselves before they do that?
Ask if it's your own choice or somebody else's, because there is a lot of suggestions for internationals to become entrepreneurs, because it's kind of like the easy path. Trust me, it's not easy. Being an entrepreneur is not easy. You can do it if you are really motivated and you want to go in that direction. So asking yourself, is it actually your choice or somebody else's? And for me, what worked was, like I said, experimentation. I don't have any entrepreneurial background. Nobody in my family has an entrepreneurial background. I did not know that I would want to be an entrepreneur, but the 2 years, for example, when I was in the university and I constantly did the experimentation of working with different kinds of roles, finally I realized that this is what I want to do. So don't hesitate in experimentation. Put yourself out there. It's not that easy, especially when you don't feel so included in certain culture. But yeah, there are different ways to also, it's not like always that I'm an extroverted introvert person, so for me it's easy to go and network in some parts and then not. But you can also go on LinkedIn, you can also have personal, authentic communication ways. So there are different ways based on what works for you. Find that, and you can find that when you experiment.
Okay, so experimenting and going out of your comfort zone. Hard for most of us, but a good thing to implement. Thank you so much, Priyanka, for sharing your knowledge. She will also be available if any of you have further questions. Go ahead in the chat, and Priyanka may be there to also answer you a little bit. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was so insightful and so valuable to have you here for today.
Perfect. Have a lovely evening, everyone. See you.
Hey everyone, I'm pleased to have with me two remarkable experts, honestly, Julia and Laura. So I want to ask you today, how are you ladies?
We are good.
You're
thank
good?
You.
You're
Fine,
good?
fine, thank you.
So just before we start our chat and before we get deep into it, I just want to remind everyone here and our lovely audience online, guys, you can encourage you to engage with us through our live chat, ask question, feel free to ask our experts question. Maybe more question will come up with you guys when we start chatting. So let's start with Julia first.
Thank you.
So, Julia, I know that you're an education specialist, and I know that you work with the University of Turku. So maybe you can let us know more about your work there.
Yes, hello everyone. It's so nice to be here with you and see so many, even the youngest clients are very interested in what we are going to discuss. So my work at the University of Turku, I'm working with the SIMHI services, and SIMHI is the short form for supporting immigrants in higher education in Finland. So the idea of SIMHI services is to support immigrants who live in Finland with questions related to education and also building career. So all different sorts of questions like that.
Good. Amazing. Thank you so much. So let's move to Laura. So I checked actually today your impressive LinkedIn. That's an amazing profile, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And I know that basically your expertise lies in more of like human resources and inclusion. So would you mind tell us more about that?
Yes, so hi everyone. It's a pleasure also from my side to be here. I'm very honored to be here. But yeah, I studied human resources, and now I'm working in the field of recruitment. And our organization where I'm working, inclusion and diversity, is a high value that we work towards all the time. So I'm actually part of the Nordic I&D team. So basically what we do is that we have different kind of initiatives to promote inclusion and diversity in the Nordics.
Nice, nice, amazing. So let's start our questions. Yeah, shall we?
With a great pleasure.
Julia, we'll start with you first, as an education comes first. So my first question with you is basically, in your experience working with immigrants, what's the strategies have you found more effective in helping them adapt to the Finnish society and navigate the education and the employment landscape, most importantly?
Thank you, Asma. It's a very broad question. I believe that people are very different from each other and everyone is unique. There's no one strategy which applies to everyone. But of course, there are probably I would point to two main lines which proves to be effective strategies is to get to know how the Finnish system works. It might sound very broad, but actually it's a critically important thing to get to know not only the labor market, but how society functions. And the second main point is to learn Finnish language. As now I'm involved in work as education specialist, but before this job I worked as a language teacher, Finnish language teacher on integration course. Those courses which teach adult immigrants Finnish language and help them to find a path further. So I cannot, as a teacher of language, I cannot underestimate the meaning and importance of learning language. So these two strategies apply for everybody. And then each of you knows best what is good for you, and each of you knows probably very well what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, and what are your dreams and goals. And then the strategy you build based on this, your values, what are you aim to do in this country. So I would phrase it like this, and does it sound too broad? We can specify something.
Yeah, yes, it is, but it's not at the same time, because like, as you said, like, you know, everyone knows what's the best for us. And then, you know, kind of like maybe they have a hint of like the route they want to take. And then here where actually your expertise comes in handy, where like, you know, you can show them how to move on with the direction they want to move in life, maybe. Yeah. So in the inclusion context, if we're talking about that. So what's the program that you just mentioned facilitate to the people who are seeking, or to the immigrants specifically, who are seeking higher education and employment in here? What are the services, resources that you provide immigrants with?
Thank you, Asma, for this question. I would try to not maybe go in too many details with what CMH is doing, but I would say that for those who are here, maybe it's not the most relevant services, because those of you who study at different schools, at University of Applied Science, or Academy, or Novia, or University of Turku, for you are available different services inside the school, and they are very good, and it's worth using them. But CMH probably is target group of CMH are those people who live in Finland, but who are outside of higher education. So those who think that it could help them to approach a career here, or those who come from home country with a degree and are looking for their job which will match this education. And that's the challenge. So for those people, all CMH services are entirely free of charge, and there is no any immigrant who live in Finland has an access to CMH services. And everybody has a right for individual study and career guidance. That is like a consultation service, and it's free of charge, and everybody can book time and discuss it with one of me or my colleagues. What is the dream job, what is the goal, and how is it realistic to achieve it, and what to be done on this way. And together with that, we provide also different coaching for Finnish language proficiency tests and coaching for job searching as well in Finnish, emphasizing that it's important, even for those who are not yet proficient in Finnish language, they could practice searching for job in Finnish language, as it opens much more opportunities. So this type of things, and then there are events and different small short courses of language as well, which CMH provides. It is, I'm talking mostly about University of Turku, but CMH services work with 10 schools of Finland. So even if you are from another city, or those who watch us online, they could check that what is CMH services, the closest educational institution to the place they live, and access those.
Okay, so basically it's mainly that support environment. You provide them with all that. And if I understood correctly, it's kind of like, one-to-one kind of session with individual, and then after that, then you kind of like draw or map out the route, or the best route for that person, how to go. So it's kind of like, it's more of like an individual thing, not a collective thing for everyone. So each one is kind of like tailored to their expertise, education, background, and then their future dream or like job or what they want to do. Let me challenge you a bit. We did hear a lot about network, and honestly, I came in and go like, okay, if you want me to network, I'm going to network, but with whom? No one wants to talk to me. So do you provide something like a networking services there? And most importantly, do you provide something like bridging the gap? So I feel like, okay, networking is something important, but bridging the gap between these people after you hear them and draw for them like kind of like an individual, let's say, map or like, roadmap, maybe in a better way. Do you provide kind of like a bridging the gap between them and the, let's say, employers in the market that they are looking for similar things, educational program that they match their preferences or something like that?
Thank you. This is a challenging question indeed, no doubt. CMH services on a broad level trying to work a lot with different companies and find some ways for those exactly who search for the practicing place or for the job place. But there is a lot to be done in this field. So I would say more successfully it goes with education and with different educational programs. So yes, the clients of CMH, they find their programs who suit them well, and they get supplementary different studies of different kinds. So this journey succeeds, and it works very well. So if that's the challenge, we are ready to take it, and it works fine. We have a lot of networking with the university and different other schools, and also with vocational training. We wouldn't forget that part too. It's for some people who change career or who get frustrated on the way, then it takes too long to get to that level where they want to be. Sometimes they change their path and they are still happy with that choice. It's not always a bad shift.
Okay, talking about success stories, as you said now, and then, having that, you said, you did implement a lot of things that were success in the end. So is there any specific initiative during the program or within the program that have been created by the team? Or if you could provide us, for example, things that you did that basically enhanced the international talents situation, and if you could maybe, I don't know if anything comes to your mind, but if you could provide us with some realistic of the achievement of your own initiative from that program that actually turned out, as you said now, it turned out to be good and effective. Nothing to your mind.
That sounds like a place. Oh, that's the question, Asma, kiitos.
Okay.
That's the tricky question indeed. I would say that I would emphasize that from those services of SIMHE, which I'm very proud of, and I'm not the one who created it, I'm only 9 months together with SIMHE, but I'm myself an international, and I used a lot of services which are similar to SIMHE before when on my journey in Finland. So I would say our coaching for language proficiency tests in Finnish is very good initiative because it's free of charge and it helps people to practice for this test, which has a lot of mystical around that. It's very complicated, and I mean, Yuki test, everybody knows what it is. So that's the very interesting initiative. And then there is a good network which SIMHE started. We have even a Facebook group in SIMHE, and you're welcome to join it. And you might find interesting information, and you might also get the image of what is going on in this area and what people with degree from home country or those who aim to get a degree here, what are they talking about and what other programs are available. So this networking is I think it's a very good progress in our work. As well as LinkedIn started about a month ago. It's very fresh and not yet so full of information, but I hope it will also provide a lot of knowledge. And also we have different projects which are maybe not so broad or not so big, but SIMHE also reacts to the current situation actively, and as well as last year we started, for example, the SIMHE Ukraine project, which helps Ukrainian refugees and provides different services to help them to adapt to the new country and to utilize in the maximum way their capacity and their degrees which they came with. So I would say there is a lot of going on. I think I mentioned few things. And about we wouldn't underestimate our career and study guidance. During this year, 2023, we already gave 200 individual sessions. So that's a good number for the University of Turku, and it's growing. This week I have few appointments still to go, so we are about to get more numbers by the end of the year. So those services and those initiatives, I think, are remarkable and easy to use, and hopefully will help other people who are interested in this.
Hopefully. So I still want to encourage our audience here and our online audience to ask any question you want from the experts, and we're definitely going to go and ask them. So now let's move to Laura. How are you? Good?
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm fine.
you
Thank
ready?
you. Yes, I'm ready. Let's go.
So Avanti is known for its commitment to inclusion and diversity. So how does the company actually create a welcoming environment to the international talent that comes in? What are the strategy that you put in as a human resources expert to include these people?
Yes, so basically everything starts already in the recruitment process. So we put a lot of attention on what's the language that we use in our job advertisements. And also we aim to form a diverse interview panel so that the people that is interviewed, they can feel some affinity or relate to a diverse panel of interviewers. Also, during the onboarding process, we introduced new joiners to our inclusion and diversity strategy and our values. And that's something that continues also after the onboarding. So we have our leadership involved in cascading these values and reminding that we are working towards these goals around these values. Another thing is that we have different kind of affinity groups internally. So basically, these affinity groups are formed, they are like minority groups. So if there is someone that feels that they would like to join to that kind of group, they are always welcome, so that they can build this kind of like sense of belonging, like meeting similar people with similar backgrounds. And yeah, and of course, well, we have also the engagement team that is actively organizing different kind of social events, so that everyone that joins the company, they can meet their colleagues and also build these meaningful relationships
Nice.
in their work life.
Nice, nice. That's actually amazing. It's good to know that it's different from Priyanka's experience, just getting a lot of emails with instructions and that's it. And then for a week, she's not meeting anyone. Sorry, Priyanka, for that. So it's interesting because you mentioned, like, because it's like you said, we stress on the language that we speak, and then we put it in the advertising, and then we put it again. So actually, this takes me to my next question. In the landscape of, like, kind of like, we still find kind of a lot of, like, job advertising that requires, it's fine to require Finnish language, but they kind of like goes like, oh, it's a fluent Finnish or native language skills. And you go like, yo, even if I speak Finnish, I'm not going to be native, and I'm not going to be, like, excellent at it. It's going to be my second language. I'm going to still be an international. So what's your perspective as a human resource expert to that?
Yes, that's a very good question. I personally think that this is changing, and of course, in most of the cases where we see these Finnish language requirements in job advertising, I think that in most of the cases, the company hasn't really stopped to think, is it really needed to perform the job well? Or could this be performed also in English language? So I think that whenever the companies and the people involved in setting these requirements start thinking about these questions, then we're going to see a change. I personally have seen this happen. So whenever we have had these kind of discussions, then I've seen that these language requirements have disappeared from the job advertisements.
We have actually a question for you from the audience. So someone's asking, does putting a photo on your CV decreases the possibility to be invited for an interview? So are you with putting a photo or not putting a photo? I have my photo everywhere, I was like, ta-la-la-la.
Yeah, of course.
But are you with putting a photo or not on a CV? What do you think?
I think that, of course, having a photo in your CV, it shouldn't affect the possibility for you to get invited to an interview. But of course, as we know, there are like many initiatives in promoting this anonymous kind of recruitment, and this is because of a reason. So that's a sad thing that happens, that there might be discrimination in some cases. But I think that that shouldn't happen.
So what would your advice would be? Put your photo regardless of?
I think that you should.
You should.
Because if that company doesn't value as you are, then maybe you are not, it's not a good place for you, and they are not worth you.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing to say. Thank you so much. Thank you, seriously. So another question, in the realm of talent acquisition, it's common to see recruiters facing a huge volume of and a bulk of, like, application just coming in. And I honestly heard some of them, like, just like, have these bulks and, like, deal with the rest. Other funny story was, like, a boss told his employee, like, take half of it, and we need only, we don't need any unlucky people in the company, so the people you picked are the lucky ones, and they can end up with us. So, is something like that still happens here? Is it actually still going on, as talking from an expert? And is there, like, strategies, behind it? Maybe we don't get it, or, like, it's just like, a lotto, you know?
Yes, that's a tricky question because, well, of course, the field that I work, which is IT, there is high competition in the market, but not from an employee perspective, but from an employer perspective. So I personally don't deal with a high volume of applications. What I do is I do headhunting. So basically, I go out there and look for talent, and I try to attract this talent. So I really don't deal with this high volume of applications.
Of applications.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. That's nice. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your insights. We have one more question for you, Leah. Someone's asking you from the audience. You talked a lot about the help to offer international learning Finnish. How do you support international learning Swedish? I'm not sure if this is applicable for you, but
it is a very good question for me. So, because my family is speaking Swedish, I know a lot about Swedish-speaking world in this country. Happen to step in both worlds at the same time. So, possibilities of learning Swedish is a great opportunity, but as competent would sound it, that you have to know also what does it mean to speak Swedish in Finland before you enter this. A lot of places offer integration courses in Swedish, so it's possible, but you have to know what's going on inside Swedish-speaking world and what kind of jobs and what kind of areas in Finland speaking Swedish. And yes, I think it might be a special sort of privilege to be able to speak Swedish. It will open up you a very specific market inside this country and also inside Sweden as well. But if we talk about Finland, I think it's a unique ability and it's underestimated, but still you have to know what kind of field you are aiming to benefit from learning Swedish. So you shouldn't start doing it without knowing what you are going to do.
Good point, good point. A lot of people turn to go like, oh, it's easier. It's a bilingual country, so it's easier for me to learn, but it's a very good point.
It's a very common opinion, and it probably sounds naive, but I also think so, since I learned both languages when I came here. So I also find that Swedish in a way easier for those who speak English.
Yeah.
But still, there are a lot of special issues which come with this speaking Swedish world, which you have to know and be aware to use it as a benefit later.
Great, thank you so much. Thank you so much, honestly. I really want to thank you, ladies, for this educative conversation. It's amazing to have you here as an expert and understand your perspective, point of view. Maybe, you know, a person who's like maybe outside still look at it like, oh, it's so hard to get in or it's so hard to understand. But it's amazing to know that such experts are there and it's like the game is changing and then people are advocating to do something more and then like, you know, to change these strategies and actually, as also Priyanka said, not just integrate, include, like, you know, literally practice the inclusion of it. This is something amazing. It was a pleasure chatting with you too. This is something awesome and it's like really my pleasure today. And we took a couple of questions. Maybe do we have time for one more question? Can I? Thank you so much. So how can we make a comment? Maybe this is for both of you and then whoever feels like answering, go ahead. Okay. How can we make a communication, a good connection on LinkedIn with a human resource manager? Maybe it's more the word Laura. Most of them does not accept connection requests and locked messages and the messages basically is locked. So the message section is locked. So how can, basically they're asking how they can communicate with the human resources managers or an employee or persons in LinkedIn. What's your advice?
Yeah, well, of course, if they accept messages, that would be the first option. I personally do speak with people on LinkedIn. Of course, if they have blocked that, then you can just investigate their email, right? So usually it's name, surname, the name, that surname, and then at, and then the company email.
That's a hack. So that's a hack, everyone.
Yeah.
Let's start stalking people.
Yeah, exactly. So that would be an option. Of course, whenever there is a job post open, there is like written, like, hey, you can contact me within these hours, and here is my phone number. So I would use those time slots when they are available to be contacted.
I have seen this. This is a great reminder. So thank you again so much, ladies, for joining us today. It's been an honor to chat with you. And next up, people, we have a really interesting session with our alumni. Let's hear their success stories together. And let's welcome our alumni and Helia again to the stage. Thank you so much.
All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm here today joined by some inspiring alumni from the multiple higher educations in Turku. There's 6, and we have 4 representatives here today. We have Giancarlo Mendes Agreda and Shujun Liang, Sai Marias, and Felipe Lopez. So welcome, everyone. First of all, let's do a quick introduction of what you're doing now, what you studied before, and when you came to Finland. Maybe we can start from Giancarlo.
Oh. Thank you very much. Well, my name is Giancarlo Mendes Agreda. As you already said, I am in this very moment a formulation scientist in a drug development company in Finland called Delsitech, where we develop a silica platform for drug delivery. And at the same time, I am doing something called industrial PhD. Okay. At the University of Turku in the Faculty of Sciences and in Physics.
Oh, wow, okay, a little bit of difference, all right. Shujun?
So, hello everyone, my name is Shujun Liang from Marble Academic University, and currently I'm a PhD researcher in the Pharmaceutical Science Lab, but I would like to make a quick note. Even though I am in the pharmaceutical science lab, but my major was not related with some drugs.
Oh.
My research topic is more related to the biomaterials that derive from the natural materials from the wood. You know, in Finland, it's really rich in wood resources.
Cool, Saima.
Hi, my name is Saima, and I'm a student of Novia University of Applied Sciences, and I did my master's from there in service design and leadership. I worked with the city of Espoo for the last year, and at the moment my contract has finished, but I'm looking for new job opportunities, and yeah, that's about me.
Thank you very much. Philip?
Well, hello everyone, and those watching back at home, my name is Filipe. I'm originally from Portugal. And I came to Finland when I was 19 years old and to pursue a Bachelor of Engineering in ICT with a major in game technologies. So a lot has happened, and eventually I landed a job at Rovio, where I'm currently working as a junior developer.
Great. I love the diversity of fields we have here, and let's get into that. But a little bit of how long have you guys been in Finland, just to get an estimate? So I think Giancarlo.
I have been here for 7 years and 3 months, more or less.
Okay, all right. Quite a while. Shujun?
If I came here already 4 years.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And I've been here for 10 years or so. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow, that's a lot.
Well, I've been here 5.5 years.
Wow, so we have quite veterans. I myself have only been here for about 2.5 years, so I would like to learn a lot more of how to survive living in Finland and integrating here. So my first question, I think, is for Giancarlo. I'm really interested in what an industrial PhD is, and how exactly has your company been supportive of that or involved?
Well, basically, an industrial PhD is like you perform your research inside of a company. And what in my case does is that the company provides me basically all the equipment that I need, all the resources, if I need to request some kind of test, even outside of the company figures it out how to provide me that resource. But at the same time, I am under the supervision of the university and under the supervision in this moment by the dean of the Faculty of Physics.
Wow, okay.
Yes, Professor Jarno Salonen. Well, it is like that kind of hybrid that I am still doing things at the academia, but at the same time I'm doing a job for the company where I'm working for.
Okay, and you're still doing a job as a formula scientist for Delta?
Yeah. Oh yes. Sure,
okay, so basically 3 jobs in one. Yeah.
So basically, what I do is like the first thing on the top of my priorities.
Okay.
It is to do the projects that the company has.
Okay. Yes.
And then, when I have time and when I can squeeze a little bit of that, I am doing my own research.
Okay, wow, that's a lot to unpack, but I think not unfamiliar with people here. A lot of us as internationals work alongside our studies. So let's dive a little bit into that after my question from Shujun. So I think you came here initially to do your master's, correct?
No, bachelor.
Oh, bachelor's, sorry. And then you went, can you tell us a little bit more about your journey after your bachelor's before you did the PhD?
It's just go to
directly.
The university
Okay,
for the master's study.
Okay, cool. So what made you decide to stay in academia?
That's a good question. I actually asked myself many times before I made this decision because, that is a quite difficult decision. It would influence you at least 4 years.
Yeah, it's a big commitment.
You must know that.
I know myself, yeah.
And actually, I made the final decision because of 3 person, I can say that. The first one is my master thesis main supervisor, Andre. And when I was a master thesis worker, I obtained the topic from the company. And actually, I have no idea how to perform it well. And Andre, he guided me from how to design the experiment and to how to perform the experiment. When the thesis writing was finished, I was like, wow, that is amazing. We finished it, and we completed as a whole story just with the topic and also the raw material, of course, from the company. Actually, I found my passions during that time.
Okay.
And then the second one is my mentor, Daniel, that we met in the mentorship program that held by Upper Academic University, and the directors are also here today. And Daniel is also a PhD from Upper Academic University. He graduated, of course, and we talk lots of working life and also the culture and also study many things. And suddenly I just asked him that, hey, Daniel, do you think I could also be a PhD?
Okay.
And he gave me lots of suggestion and encouragement, seriously. Then I found my confidence that to fill in the application. And then the third one is my current supervisor, Xiaoju. She offered me this opportunity to become a PhD researcher, of course, and she encouraged me to jump over my comfortable zone. But you know, my background is not pharmaceutical, but now I'm in the biomaterial field. That she encouraged a lot about that, and she's always filled of brilliant ideas in the scientific field, and also keeps telling me, even though it's just small step or small discovery, it still make contribution in the science field. So all I want to say is that academics are so attractive. It's not just pass on the knowledge, it's also pass on their life attitudes to you. Then it makes me learn a lot. So that's why I...
Yeah, I relate to that actually. I have quite a few mentor people as well in my circle that kind of encouraged me also to actually go do a PhD, but that's... So Saima, so you've been in Finland for quite some time now, and I believe you came also, you have your family here. So did you come to Finland with your family?
Yes, I did. I came here with my husband and my one kid, and then I had my second kid here.
Okay.
And that's the reason I got to do my master's in 2019, because I was kind of sorting life in between.
Yeah, yes.
But it was such a wonderful experience in this sense that the kids, they get really taken care of here.
Yeah.
Because my kid was struggling with the language here. He goes to a Finnish school, and because we decided that we're going to stay here, and putting him in English school was of no point. So he got the language support for that, for his deficiency, like shortcomings in Finnish language, and yes, it's been.
Okay, well that's really interesting because we have a couple of families here in the audience, so I guess we would want to know more. And if you have any questions, please put them in the chat and we can ask them to Saima. But I did have a question. So it seems like the Finnish society has been very supportive of your child, but did you face any challenges when trying to bring your family in the first place? I think immigration is usually the part where it's a bit hard to do.
Immigration was not really a problem because my husband was a student.
Okay.
Like he got a study visa, and we, all of us, we just migrated here, and then he got, because he's in IT, he got a job pretty soon while he was studying, so that was not really an issue.
Okay, well I'm glad to hear. Now, Philippe. You're in the gaming industry. That's a really cool industry and also quite complicated. So you did your bachelor's here and basically most of your higher education also here. So as someone who basically spent most of their adult life in Finland, what's the kind of most standout experience that you've had as an international, at least in Finland?
Well, one thing that immediately pops out of this is that when I arrived to Finland, I was extremely shy.
Okay.
And Turku, at least here, it's a city where you will develop a new personality and you develop a new way of seeing life overall.
Yeah.
And I believe that probably is the best possible thing as an international student or someone planning to come to Finland is you will have to eventually socialize. You have talk to people and develop a new friendship as well. So that's a great thing as an international.
Okay, well, as when you moved to Finland, I think this is maybe a question that everyone can relate to. What made you decide to stay here after you moved?
Maybe just too lazy to move to other place.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Comfort, anyone else?
Yes, the laid-back lifestyle, work-life balance was what made us stay.
Amazing, yeah.
Also the amazing sauna culture. I love it.
Great. Anybody else in the audience like sauna? Can you give me a hand raise? Yeah. I'm not a big fan myself, but it's nice. Okay, well, talking about that then, back to Giancarlo. So since you're juggling wearing so many hats at the same time and juggling so many things, how do you find the time to actually be able to focus on all of those different things?
Well, you need to start to organizing your priorities, and also there are some tools that it will help you to schedule what are you going to do during the week, and also that you need to be very careful not to pursue of overloading so much, because like academy and work, it is not all your life. You also need to balance with other stuff. For example, like let's call it extracurricular activities that you can join. One of the amazing things that I found here in Finland, it is like, and especially in the city of Turku, it is that there are many groups where you can go in order to socialize, such as, for example, if you're a nerd like me, you can go for the video game club. There are also these board game clubs, and if you play an instrument, also you can join one of the student bands. I actually play in a student orchestra called Axel Bandet that it's from Obo Academy.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. So prioritizing. I think I can speak maybe for a majority of the people here. As an immigrant, you kind of have the sense that you have to be a little bit more competitive in order to stand out. Do you have any tips in your specific fields? What makes yourself appealing towards employees, for example? What have you done, or what have you focused on to actually make yourself stand out of all the applicants? Because of course, as immigrants, maybe companies are a little reluctant to hire, or it's uncomfortable for them. So of course you have to also be maybe the best of the best. So what in your respective fields have you found is a valuable skill or resource to have? Maybe we can start from Philip.
All right. So in IT, at least, it's very competitive. I mean, anyone that's in this field knows that it's extremely hard to get a job. But one thing that I feel like a lot of people lack in this field is lack of projects.
Okay.
This is a very project-intensive field. And it's important to ask yourself, if you're trying to look for a job, why would I get hired for a position in my field? Can I actually do this? Do I have the experience to do this?
Okay.
Because there are situations where even right now that I have some problems that I solve, for example. And I would look at myself 3 years ago and I would say, I will never be able to solve this.
Okay.
And it's due to many projects and a lot of experience that I ended up eventually to be able to find a job, at least. It's because I had a lot of projects in my portfolio. At least in IT, you could always show your code in source control, GitHub. That's very good, actually. You should do that. Try to put your code out there as much as you can so people can look at it.
Okay, we'll come back to actually how to get that experience, because I think you've done a lot of things also when you were studying. But Saima, in your field specifically, maybe you can explain to the audience what you've done to actually stand out, because you've worked for the city of Espoo before, and I think working for a city is a very valuable experience and also a great opportunity. So maybe you can tell us how you landed that job.
Yeah, it's first is like reaching out. We all know that Finns are very shy, and we kind of close up as well after a while. So, but reaching out is very important. When you reach out, when you call people, because how I landed my job was that I was calling my coordinator that, okay, I can do this on voluntarily basis, and I can work as a volunteer internee at your workplace. And they were like, okay. And they discussed it, and they hired, they got me on board. And then obviously after seeing my work ethics and the work I delivered, they recommended me to this job opening that was there in the company, and that's how I landed my job.
Okay, yes. Fun fact for everyone, 70% of jobs in Finland are hidden jobs. So I think trying to get those connections is the first and most hardest thing to do, but at least in my experience, getting your foot in the door tends to lead to opportunities. But Shujin, how about you? What are the skills do you think made you stand out, and so that your professor actually offered you this opportunity?
I think because I'm working hard.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because my master's study is during the pandemic time, and I didn't have that much a chance to join in the lab work. So when I obtained the topics from the company, I was actually really nervous. But so I need to input lots of time to make myself did it better. So that's, I think, one is the important part. If you don't know, you have to input your time working hard to make yourself better.
Okay, great tip. Giancarlo?
I guess that in my case it was basically that I show that I am in the same way as you did, that I show that I was hardworking. Like in Finnish, that word is like ahkera.
Okay.
So it is that was the first thing. That, and the second thing is like to be proactive, and the third thing, and this can go to anyone. You need to be very prone to learn.
Okay.
You don't need to be like an expert or have a huge expertise on a determined field to show off that you will deserve that job opportunity. It's because each company has their own processes, and each company has their own ways of like breaking the nuts. But the thing is, like, if you show that you can learn and you have that willing to learn, and you show also that passion to do the job, then I guess that people will start to appreciate that, and will see you that you can be good or a part of the engine that the company needs.
Okay, so would it help, for example, if you looked into the company and seeing what they're missing, or how do you suggest actually doing that?
Of course, in the very first instance, like, you need to know what the company does.
Yes.
You need to get to gather that information, and also, well, in my field, that is like this drug developing sciences. You check like what the company does, what are the publications that the company has, and you start to have like an idea. Oh, okay. They do this, they are managing this kind of techniques, and also you need, well, if you have the background for applying, that would be perfect, but if not, then you will put yourself as a purpose in order to learn the techniques, types of analysis, etc.
Okay, so that's really field specific and something that you maybe need to dig a little bit more. Maybe if you have mentors that could also help you bridge the gap between what's needed in your industry and what you may have. But Saima, I actually wanted to go back into working for the city of Espoo. So could you explain a little bit more exactly what you did for them?
Yes, I started off as a service designer with Koske. Koske is a program that City of Espoo offers. It's for highly educated immigrants who are looking for a job in Finnish market, and I did the service design for them, did the research for what the pain points are, or what can be improved in the service, and where the gaps can be closed. And then I got the job for coordinator and service designer for the City of Espoo's mayor's office. And there I was doing coordination of international visits and events, but I was also doing service design for technical visits to Espoo. So
okay, cool. I know this may have been a while that you did the research for immigrant services for highly educated immigrants, but I think a lot of us can also relate to the jobs that we're getting often are not related to what we're actually studying, the jobs that we need to survive in Finland. So out of your research, do you have any insight into what maybe the city is doing to actually support highly educated immigrants to get a job relevant to them?
Yes, it's actually about, it's not about, taking your individual dream or your individual goal from you that, okay, if somebody wants to do a certain thing, they won't take it away from you. But it's always good to be open to other positions while you are on the job search. But what I find very valuable is that when you change your mindset, that's when you totally change the game. Like, for example, today, all the people that are here, your mindset is changed. You're not here to look for a job. You're here because Turku is looking for people to study and stay in Turku. So the roles are reversed already. So when you change that mindset, your applications, your cover letter, I think your attitude, it becomes so positive that it is a total game changer in my opinion.
That's an interesting take. So trying to convey the fact that I really want to stay here will actually maybe help you get a job. That's interesting. And by the way, anyone, if you have any comments, feel free to jump in. This is just like an open discussion. If you want to answer a question that I've said previously, please feel free. Do you have any comments now on this?
I was about to mention, especially for those who are like looking for jobs. Try also to advertise yourself that you can make this modality that is called työkokeilu, that it is like a work trial. That is a work trial. In that sense, the company can pay you part of a salary, but also the employee's office also pays, or the Kela pays also the other part. It's not actually a big salary, but it is the perfect opportunity for you to show to the company what you can do for the company, and also if it's actually the kind of work that you are willing to do or you are able to do. Because, for example, in my case, I will not apply for rocket science, for example. No, I mean, like, and also in that sense, it's much more likely that the company will know you better, and let's say, like, if it's not successful, at least you will receive some recommendation letter.
And also
so
some
you
networking.
will not start from zero in the next time that you are looking for a job opportunity.
Okay, and I think that opportunity, well, you said it's from Kela, but for those of you, to my knowledge, in the University of Turku and also Åbo Academy, you can get an internship subsidy. Basically, send an open letter to the companies being like, hey, I want to work with you, and they can also provide a 3-month salary, at least from the University of Turku. That's what I know, and also Åbo Academy. So that's a good opportunity to try to get your foot in the door. Philip, we have a question from the audience here. So you're in the gaming industry in Finland. How did you break into that industry, and what challenges did you face before getting your first job?
That's actually a very good question. Well, it's important to think about, first of all, that this industry, again, is very difficult, but to put your foot in the doors in the industry, in my opinion, you generally have 2 ways. Either you get a really good internship, or you do a project that is generally something amazing. So when I was studying, I could not find an internship. That was something that I couldn't find. And I couldn't get my credits. I mean, I was offered a few things, but they were not good. I know that if I went to do them, I would not live anywhere. So I thought outside the box.
Okay.
What I did is I went through this project, which is the startup journey, to learn more about business and learn more about how these things work. And from there, I decided to create my own company. So I started my company, and that gave me a purpose to focus all my abilities into one game. And I believe that during the year that I was with my company, I believe that that's where I put my foot in the door, because the amount of experience, the amount of coding that I did was what led me to have something that I could show to people that were trying to hire me. I believe that was the most important thing, that I thought outside the box, and I didn't blame anything else. I decided to do something about it. So that gives a lot of points, especially if you are a little bit lost and you don't know what to do, right?
Yeah.
Which can happen a lot of times.
Yeah, yes.
I would probably recommend you to do a project and if you can't do a big project, start small, then build up until you are able to do something bigger and then show that.
Okay, interesting. So if I remember correctly, you did kind of this startup journey also with the not the help, but maybe guidance of Boost Turku, right?
Yeah, startup journey boost.
Okay, and then do you also this whole company project of yours was also you were also able to get credits as well?
That's correct.
Okay,
and they gave me 15 credits for that.
Wow. Okay.
My university, so
That's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
really
kind of nice incentive.
Yeah, kind of a big part of a dissertation as well. But yeah, so but what made you kind of gave you that boost and that confidence to actually start a company? It's very scary for a lot of people and maybe not sustainable in the long run. So if that is maybe the only way you can think outside of the box, what would you suggest to really kind of question yourself first before you do this step?
Well, it's very difficult to create a company, obviously. There's a lot of things go behind it. You need a roadmap, you need a plan, you need really nice project. But what really helps is having a team. And that's, in my opinion, where I believe Turku shines. This is a city of opportunity and a city of networking. There's a lot of international students. There's a lot of people here. So if you meet the right people, in my situation, game jams in here, then you have the confidence to actually create something bigger because you're not alone. You'll meet the people, you'll, of course, get to be with them, and then you'll start project with them.
Yeah.
And I believe that at least was what gave me the boost to actually start this company.
Okay.
I created the company with a colleague of mine that I met during university. But during Boost, however, I met another team in a game jam, and that's where I went there.
Okay, so sometimes it's hard to get networks with Finnish people, and often internationals hang out with internationals. But a question for all of you, how did you get local connections outside of the international bubble? Anyone?
Well, as I already mentioned, like you start open your mouth and then you.
So you have to start the conversation
you have to start
first.
The conversation,
yeah.
But also, I mean, like there are a lot of extracurricular or activities that are not only related to the academia or to the work. I mean, like there are groups of choirs here. There are groups for sports, for sports here, for dancing clubs. Groups also for board games, bands. Like you just only need to be very open to the media and try to check where you can fit. And once I am at least from my experience, people were very willing to accept me in those groups, especially on my band. Yeah, and. Well, they were quite willing to get internationals, and even though that at the very beginning it was quite difficult to me to speak the language, even nowadays it's still the same. But that helped me to integrate and also to meet other people and to have like the connections to also to other people, and not only for like taking this kind of like a networking, but also for doing other extra activities, such as, for example, if you want to hang out or want to go for the movies or having other extra activities. So then you connect in that sense with the locals.
Okay. Anybody else have any tips?
If you're trying to build your professional network, LinkedIn is a very good portal to do that. And showing up to events such as the one today. Yeah. And I'll give you my example. I'm a service designer. I'm one of the members of the service design group in Turku. And we have different hangouts and we have different events in there. We have specialists from the industry. And after the event, we get a chance to exchange our LinkedIns. And when you add someone on LinkedIn, don't just add them, just leave a note with that where you found them. And networking is a slow process. It happens over time, and you post what you're interested in. You might just someday hit off with one of the colleagues or networks on your LinkedIn.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point, because I think a lot of people here have heard that you need to network and network and network, which is, I'm still networking with a lot of people, and I think it's also really hard to branch out to other people outside of your own bubble. Maybe, Shujun, did you have anything you wanted to say about networking and outside of the international bubble?
Well, if talking to get to the local connection, when I was new in Finland, I like to go different kind of parties, and that is a really good way. But finally, I found out I'm not a party person. Then when I started working in the university, I found during the coffee break, you talk with your colleagues. That is a really good way to know about their culture and also activities they are really happy to share. And the third one is based on my observation, for those who have families, especially have children. Actually, it's quite easy to get more local connection because your children would participate many activities, and you would also get into that, I think. I just based on my observation, maybe it was not correct.
Yeah, it was not correct.
Because
it didn't happen to me.
Oh,
yeah.
Because my friends, if
yes.
they have
that's right. That's
have
true.
children, then
that's
they just get more connection and more activities. They
do play dates with the parents.
Yeah, different club and different activities. Something they would also participate in.
Cool. Okay, Philip, any tips?
Well, to meet more locally outside of international, it's a little bit difficult. I won't lie.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. Finnish people are lovely. They are very lovely people, but it's very difficult to integrate in a group where you don't speak Finnish. And of course, you can have a couple of Finnish friends speaking English, but most of their environment and groups are Finnish people.
Yeah.
And they will switch English for you, because again, they are very kind.
Very kind, yes.
But with some minutes after, they will switch back to Finnish, and then you will feel a little bit excluded. I would like to add on here is that do learn Finnish and don't be afraid to take risks. Use your Finnish to people. They appreciate it, and you probably can start from there.
Yeah, so speaking of the Finnish language, I think often people come here, of course, not being able to speak Finnish first, and people already come here, they're studying, and it's really hard to find a time to actually sit down and learn a language. It's hard to learn your own subject, let alone a language on top of that. So there's a really nice question from the audience here. I don't know, can you raise hands how many of you actually speak Finnish fluently? Ish.
Can I?
Conversational.
Mä voin.
Or from here, from the panelists. Yeah. I think, Philip, you also speak.
I do understand.
Finnish. Yeah.
Do understand
all right. But then, before you were able to speak Finnish, did you experience any difficulties in finding a job? And were the companies, how did they react to applicants that maybe didn't have such fluent Finnish skills?
Well, I must, at least in my experience, it was like a big change, because first I presented my CV in the way how I am used to present it in Latin America.
Okay, yeah.
But here in Europe, and specifically in Finland, it has another kind of much more simpler and much more precise type of format. But even though that I did that when I used to apply for a job with my English CV, it was a little bit challenging. But again, thanks to the services of the TE-toimisto, of the job office, they modified a little bit more my CV, and they made a Finnish version of my my CV.
Okay.
And even they took me a picture as well to put it to put in my CV. And after I started sending the Finnish CV, I started to receive at least 15 calls.
Wow.
And I went to 5 interviews after that. And I'm very glad in such a sense that I landed on Delphi Tech, because Delphi Tech is a company where we have like a quite friendly environment for internationals. We have like workers from Cameroon, China, some from Middle East, and other cities among Europe. A Peruvian Latino here, and yeah, as I said, like meanwhile you can show that you have like this willing to learn and this willing to work and do your part and show that you are hardworking. I guess that will be the key to get into the company.
Okay, but follow-up question to that actually, since you sent your CV in Finnish, when you were invited to the interview, were the interviewees surprised that you didn't speak Finnish? How did you handle that?
No, it was interesting, because when I received like the reply, I put like a nota bene that it's like just in case. My Finnish is not fluent yet.
Okay.
Just in case.
All right.
But anyway,
okay.
but
at least you got
me.
calls and you got engagement. Yeah. Exactly. So that's a good point. I think every city here has a toimisto office that maybe you can help go to. I think a lot of the universities also have their own recru, which have CV clinics. That can help you tailor your CV to more suitable to Finnish industry, and maybe you can even ask a friend to help you translate it to Finnish and send out CVs. But that's a good tip actually. But how about everyone else's experience? How did not having a Finnish capability, a Finnish language skills hinder you in your job applications, or how did you actually overcome that?
With me, with my last job with Espoo City, the job ad actually said that Finnish level B is required.
Okay.
And, I'm hardly a 1.1. And but again, networking.
Yeah.
And I called and I talked to the supervisor, and I said that I don't know much Finnish, but I am learning every day. And my interview, one person was speaking Finnish and one was speaking English.
Okay.
I hardly got Finnish, but if somebody's actually inclusive and they want you, they would hire you anyways. And I did most of the work in Finnish. Like I analyzed data in Finnish. I don't know Finnish. I translated it, and meetings were in Finnish. That was a challenge, but I was able to swim through it. And the other thing that I recently got an interview from If Insurance. They said they would prefer Finnish language with English language. So I called and asked if I can still apply, and I got an interview with them. So it's always good to call, and don't be afraid. I used to not apply to the places that said Finnish is also required, but now I apply to those places as well. You
apply anyway. So. Okay. Philippe?
Well, would you like to say something?
I don't have anything to say because my working language is
English in academia. Yeah, we get it a little bit easier in academia, at least. That a lot of the professors are very kind enough to actually speak in English. But
so, in my field, which is IT, it's generally you will only really need Kiitos, equity, and no need. That's pretty much it.
No need will carry you throughout the whole conversation. That's true.
Generally speaking, totta. It's a very, it's in my experience a very English sort of field. For example, where I'm currently working in Rovio, it's very inclusive, very diverse. So you got all kinds of people, and a lot of them don't speak Finnish. It's just the way that the current that my field is.
Okay, all right. So a bit luckier if you're in the IT. All right, Giancarlo, I have a little bit more field-specific question for you. So we know that Turku produces the majority of novel drugs in Finland. Turku is very well known to be great at drug discovery and development. So being in such a highly established field, how I think I already asked before, how did you stand out? But specifically for the pharmaceutical industry, how did you break into it?
Well, actually, I came from a background in my home country for working in pharmaceutical industry.
Okay.
Actually my majors from Peru, it is that I have a double degree, one in pharmacy and another in biochemistry.
Yeah.
Instead of studying 3-4 years, I studied 6.
Yeah.
And it was like I wanted to study also chemical engineering, but my parents told me like, hey, you need to go to work. Don't spend all your life into the academy. But yeah, so I gather already some knowledge into the field. But you know, like there is like one point in your life where you check like, yeah, I'm going to dedicate myself into the R&D in the pharmaceutical industry, but I would like to go for studying new things or to go for a little bit farther. And then you see like you already have like some kind of roof. And in order to break that roof, you need to go outside and study new type of technology. And that's why that was my main motivation to come to Finland. Nowadays, I am working in this also in the same type as materials, but what I'm doing is like drug developing with silica technology. And at least from my part, I'm very happy that I am putting a little bit of effort into writing this chapter into the drug development that is related to the silica technology.
Okay, so it's very specific and niche kind of field.
Yeah.
And okay, so trying to find that niche maybe within your specific fields might help you stand out.
Yeah, because well, in Peru, I passed for quality assurance. I also work in quality control, and I ended up my field in research and development. Then I came here to study at the master's at the University of Turku in drug discovery and development. And then I was, well, I can say that I was pretty lucky, even though that it was a kind of new field that I have to learn it from the scratch. But I am still doing on the field that I love, which is research and development. So it's.
I think maybe for Giancarlo and Saima, I don't know about Shujun, that you probably already had career experiences way before you came to Finland. And I think also sometimes it can be a little discouraging that when you're coming to a new country, you have to start from scratch. So what kept you motivated to, other than I have to stay here and survival, just things that you've maybe said to you in low times when you were feeling a little bit demotivated and trying to look for a job or position? Do you have any tips?
Well, actually, it's much more like I think that all of us, we have like some kind of goals, and the goals that that sort of we know that we can achieve, and also that we deserve. And you try to, I guess that if you put effort enough and also doing the right connections, at least in my experience, when I finished the masters, or when I was very close to finish the masters, I was actually not so eager to go to the pathway of the PhD, because I already had the taste of working in industry, and then after so how much hard work it was the PhD, I said no. And then I got a job, and then I was tempted by the dark side in order to do the PhD, and I am now struggling doing both things.
Wow, okay. Saima, did you feel at any point kind of demotivated that you had to, in a way, restart your career?
Yes, I felt demotivated for quite some time,
Yeah.
and because especially everybody's journey is so different.
Yes.
I moved here with my my husband and my kid, so and my husband had a job here, and for a long time I was like, okay, there's something wrong with me, or so there was that mindset. But then you need to analyze that, okay, do I need to upgrade my skill set? That's why I decided to do my master's in service design, because this was an emerging field, and
Yeah.
it's very valued here in Finland. So you need to analyze, okay, what your priorities are. Again, like it's just said that what your goals are, and
Yeah.
that's what really gonna affect your decision about it.
Jujun, did you have a kind of career before you came here, or no? Because you, oh yes, because you did, yes. So you both did your bachelor's here, and you pretty much started your careers in Finland. So how did you navigate that as someone who's new to getting a job or in the job industry? What did you find was helpful? Any services that you found was helpful, or other than looking for mentors and more experiences? Like anything specific to Finland that you can think of that would be helpful to someone looking for a job?
I'm not really know about
Yeah.
that answer.
All right. Philippe, maybe?
Well, like I previously mentioned,
Yeah.
there's opportunities in the startup journey, that
Yeah.
opportunities, at least in my field, all around Turku, there's, for example, Aurajoki Overflow, which is a very nice event where it kind of happens every month. You can go, and there's a lot of services and this kind of events in which you can always communicate with people and find someone that will give you an opportunity to work.
But you also did an internship in Rockdial, right?
Yes, I did.
And that was after you did the company, its startup company.
Correct.
Sofin. Okay, so throughout that whole journey, what made you finally feel kind of confident enough to apply for an internship at Rockdial? Or did you just, how was that process? Did you go through a normal applying to hundreds of companies, or did you know someone at Rockdial?
So I've met the owner of Rockdial, which is Joni, in one of the game jams, actually, an event that happened here. So again, communication is important. And I noticed that he has an internship for his company.
Okay.
And what gave me motivation, what gave me the expertise, it was that whole year of focusing on a project and having the confidence to finally say, I can do this.
This is what I can do.
This is what I can do.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful for Joni, which gave me an opportunity.
Okay.
And the rest is history.
All right. So there you have it, folks. Trying to get a lot of more experiences, maybe even volunteering a little bit for a little time. I know that's not an ideal and obviously not sustainable situation, but sometimes you just have to swallow and do it, which is also a way to get your foot into the door. But one quick back to language. Do you have any advice for people trying to learn Finnish? I know I don't have any advice. I'm still struggling on that part. No advice.
Well, at least from, I'm not sure if this is politically correct to say, but the thing it is like, at least from my part, the ex-girlfriend that I had helped me a lot to learn the language. Yeah, I think that she was the best teacher that I ever had, especially when she was mad.
Okay.
It doesn't work in my case. My boyfriend also can speak fluent Finnish, but every time I talk with him with some little bit Finnish, he just fell sleepy.
Oh, maybe Saima, does your child speak Finnish?
Yes, my kids speak Finnish, but they don't speak Finnish at home. But I found out that don't shy away from speaking Finnish in daily life situations, because I thought I didn't know any Finnish, but when I started working in Espoon Kaupunki, I found out that that I do know.
You picked up something.
So just try that.
Cool.
Just try it.
Really?
I do have one advice. If you're trying to learn Finnish, do not start with grammar. You will give up on the first week. Do not make the same mistake as I did. Start by listening. Read, listen as much as you can. It will eventually come. And then start studying some grammar to maintain that fluidity. Again, I'm not an expert in Finnish, I'm not the best, but if I were to give that advice is listen to Finnish. Listen to Finnish, read Finnish, watch podcasts, but do not study grammar at first, because you will give up. There is so much.
So basically,
go slowly.
Gather a vocabulary
Exactly.
first before you start trying to make any sentences.
Pretty much.
So, good one. All right, let's get into the kind of final session, which is just a little game. You have the cards with you, which has yes, I agree, and no, I disagree. I just have a few questions, and then you can hold up. And the audience, you can also play too. You can raise your hands if you agree, or just like give a thumbs down if you disagree. So my first question or statement is, it took a while for me to find my people in Turku. I know I did. Did it take you a while to find your people? I think I found a few. Yeah?
Yes.
Yes? Yes. No. Okay. All right. So you were very active in the societies. Yeah, I'm a homebody. I don't like to go out. So it did take me a while. Number 2, I think I know the answer for Giancarlo. I love being in a sauna. Not exactly sure. Yes, yes. All right. Everybody loves the sauna. Great. How about ice swimming? I love ice swimming. I haven't tried. My supervisors have been trying to convince me to do ice swimming. No. Yes. All right. You're basically a local.
You need to try it. Believe me. After doing ice swimming, you have like that shock of adrenaline that you can even fight a bear.
Yeah, that's called survival. But yeah. All right, the third one. I knew about Finnish culture before I came here. I had no idea, honestly. Yes, no. Yes and no. Maybe you did a little research when you wanted to come here. Or?
Well, my biggest research about how Finland it was from the Dudsons.
Okay.
So it was not quite accurate. No.
All right, cool. Right, really quick, and the final one is I still find it, well, hard to learn Finnish. Cool. No, yes. Yes and no. All right. Well, that wraps up our panel today. Thank you so much to our esteemed alumni. I hope our discussion has been insightful for the audience, and hopefully you'll stay here for our next networking session after this. And next we have our closing. But first of all, let's give a big round of applause to our alumni. Thank you so much, guys.
Wow, that was an epic session. Do you guys agree with me? Yes? Yes?
Make some noise!
Yes? No, we need an energy for the networking session. Yes, yes, amazing. So our program came to an end, but before we conclude, Helia, would you like to tell our audience about the very useful resources available for them?
All right, so I already mentioned quite a few resources that are available for people who are here in Turku. Check out your university websites, your recru. Go make sure that you get that CV tailored, and make sure that you don't have any disadvantages when you're trying to apply. Also, for those of us online and here, you have the ability to look into the different websites available. There's the city of Turku, which provides so many information about the services available here. There's also International House Turku, who provides great counseling services to support the integration of immigrants here in Finland. They have a lot of good programs that maybe you can also join them. And for those of you who are looking to study in Turku, remember to check out every institution's websites. There are 6 higher educations here in Turku. You have a lot of excellent programs to choose from. And mark your calendars, the application period will start on the 3rd of January until the 17th in 2024. So it's pretty soon, and it's exciting times.
Okay, Noni, that's my favorite Finnish word where I can use it everywhere and always make me sound professional speaker. So as we came to an end, I really want to thank you, Helia, for co-hosting with me. It was an amazing, amazing event. I want to thank you here, our audience, for coming and sticking with us and hearing us. And then I hope you enjoyed it. I really want to thank our online audience for tagging along, engaging with us remotely. And I really want to ask you, our audience here, to stay a bit longer. Please do enjoy our networking session with some refreshment. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, everyone. And that's it from us. We hope to see you next year, and have a good evening.
Good evening. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Enjoy.